I'm not sure that adopting this plan, though, that has some things in it like building more multi-unit mixed-use developments. When we've heard, anybody who watched the town center focus groups heard a lot about not wanting to see density in town, not wanting to see 5-story buildings in town. We missed the mark, got a no vote from our community last May on that funding for that plan. And it was discouraging for me to see that one of these action plans, one of these action points in here is to build more multi-unit and mixed-use development and really just lean into that, which we're hearing from our community now that is not what people want to see.
Well, no, I was just going to mention that. Certainly the plan makes use of, existing plans that are in place, and the town center plan has been adopted at this point. So we had to work from the information that currently exists and to do our projections and to look at, the actions or implementation measures that would be included.
And I guess that's maybe my biggest concern with this, kind of the point that you just brought up there. You just said that the town center plan's been adopted, so that now we're supposed to follow that. Well, if this plan is adopted and then we decide that we need to change course, it sounds like right now we're being told by our community that we need to change course on town center. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I saw in the focus groups. And if we adopt this plan, are we going to stick rigidly to it and hear that saying, well, we've adopted the plan, we have to go through with it now? I don't think that it's responsible, and I think that Clackamas County back in 2023, they did the smart thing by shelving this thing and taking it under consideration and moving on. You mentioned tax credits and grants and government rebates and things like that. I think we have to keep in mind that it's nice to get those things, but where does that come from? It comes from all of you. It comes from your tax money. Tax money doesn't grow on trees. The federal government just doesn't get it out of thin air. It's still our money somewhere. But when we have an entire action point in here, again, that goes against what we are hearing in these focus groups. Honestly, I think we should hold off on this thing until after the focus group report comes out and after we hear back from our citizens in a clear report about what they're expecting of us in our next big development here in town, because I think that dictates a lot of what they expect of us and what they'd like to see in this plan as well. But when this action calls for building more multi-unit and mixed-use developments, did anybody take note of what, how many total emissions eliminated that would constitute? 0.4%. We're going to change the fabric of our community. We're going to change the character of Wilsonville so we can reduce our emissions by 0.4% as part of this plan. I don't see this plan as being useful or feasible for our city, especially given the budget concerns that I've brought up. And I know that it has to go through the budget process and all of that. We're operating in a budget deficit 4 out of the 5 next years. Only reason we're not in deficit one year is because we get a one-time last payment for that water pipe running up 95th that has ruined traffic for our whole community. It's the only reason that we're not going to be in the red in 5 years. We don't have the money to go and throw it around at niceties right now. We need to get down to foundational needs. We need to get back to brass tacks. We need to get priorities in order to ensure the longevity of our city and that we don't sell our city to some idea of 5-story buildings and creating something that is clearly not Wilsonville and clearly not what people are looking for. This clearly is talking about shifting transportation modes, which to a lot of people says taking them out of their cars. People don't want to give up their cars. I don't even want to know how much we've spent on the consultants on this already and how much we would spend to continue down through those further steps. We're looking at this tonight too with the backdrop of just talking about tripling our community's utility rates on sewer and stormwater. I'm guessing that in the next meeting or two, we're going to have someone come and ask us to consider implementing a mandatory parks fee onto every utility bill in our city to keep our parks running. We're considering doing this and taking something that isn't necessary. And with the backdrop of all of these other increases that are occurring, the cost of living for people in our community has skyrocketed. People are struggling right now. I mean, just look at, the federal government shuts down and food stamps turn off, and how many people are in dire straits all of a sudden. There's a lot of people struggling right now, and I just don't see this as being prudent to the issues that we're facing right now. And I think that it's counter in a lot of ways to what people expect us to do as their elected leaders.
I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of adopting resolution number 3218, a resolution of the city of Wilsonville adopting the climate action plan, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Nay. Motion passes 4-1.